Okay, guys. So, get out your folders. Get out your pink sheet. We're going to do our warm-up first. I have to restart my computer. Just for some reason it's not showing up on here. There it is. Okay. So, get out your purple sheet. If you don't have a purple sheet, get out a piece of paper and you'll do it on that piece of paper. Alright guys, so this is what is on the agenda for today. Independent reading with your warm-up, then 4 common context clues. I'm going to talk to you guys about those 4 common context clues. And then we're going to read a story called 11. Now, in 11, basically what it is it's a story told from a serial killer's perspective. And we're going to use the stuff we learned today to kind of figure out what he's saying. You'll mostly know what he's saying, but there's a few words that I want you to try to practice with. Okay? So, the warm-up for today is right there. I kept the learning target on there for you. It is, I can apply appropriate context decoding technique to an unknown word in context. So again, I can apply the appropriate context decoding technique to an unknown word in context. Okay? Yes, sir. One more time. Up here. Remember when you're absent, you get the word from right over there? Okay. So I can apply the appropriate context decoding technique to an unknown word in context. So you're going to correct the following sentences. Remember the stuff in bold, that gives you like a hint as to what it is that is wrong. So the first one, you're going to have a double negative. There's going to be a subject-verb agreement problem. You're also going to need to put in an apostrophe or take one away. And then you're missing a comma. Yes, ma'am.
So if we don't have a pen, should we just write the correct sentence?
What do you mean?
I mean, if we don't have the paper, will we just write the correct sentence?
I think I might have enough extra. Do you want one? You want one too? Today is the 27th. I wish it was the 29th too.
Miss Ball, did you see what page those was in my book?
Uh-huh.
Just change 27. I thought it was 26. Change it yourself. Yesterday
H. Spencer once said, "No one can't be perfectly happy till all is happy." So here's an example of a double negative. Mama said I can't have no Coke. Mama said I can't have no Coke. Or Mama said I can't have no candy. What's wrong?
You say you can.
Double negative means you have 2 negative words like can't has not, and none is like none, right? So those are 2 negative words. How should I say it? Mama said I can't have no candy. How should it be? Mama said I can't have any candy. That's a double negative. Well, that one's not a double negative. The first one is. Alright, let's look at the first one. What's wrong? Somebody raise your hand. What's wrong? Yes, down here. What's one thing?
Where it says no one can't be perfectly happy.
What should it be?
Can.
No one can be perfectly happy, so it should be can. C-A-N, not can't. 10, what's wrong?
I would record it. Feel to be unfeel.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to say about this. When you have dialogue, right, you want to be able to write down exactly what someone says. Okay? So like with the mice and men, some of the words that they said in there were not proper, were not correct. However, they were in dialogue. You're trying to capture exactly what they said. So this person said till. So how would you make that so it's correct? Put an apostrophe in there. Right, T-I-L. Alright, something else. What else is wrong? Anything else? There's one more thing I'm looking for. What's wrong with said? What needs to be a comma? A comma, yes. When you have dialogue, you put the comma before the dialogue. So it should be, H. Spencer once said, comma, no one can be perfectly happy till all is happy. Actually, there's one more.
Oh, after happy.
After happy? Let me read this again. No one can be perfectly happy till all is happy.
Everybody.
You could say everybody is happy. What about this word? Is.
Every time.
So no one can be perfectly happy till all is happy. It should be are, right? All is plural. It's many people, so you use the word are. Alright, next one. Using the right word, there's a pronoun problem, and then there's a spelling problem. He whom flees proves himself guilty. He who flees, huh?
He who.
Who, yes. Whom should be who. If you can substitute the word who for he, if you can put he in there, then it works for who. If you can put him in there, then whom is right.
Himself, and it's all one word.
Yes, him, it should be himself, not his self. And then there's one more. Yes. Guilty. How should that be spelled? G-U-I-L-T-Y. Yes. All right, good. Let's move on. So I've given all of you one of these packets. What I want you to do, flip to the back one. You're going to see 4 boxes. These are 4 slides. We're going to be talking about something called context clues today. We're going to look a little bit more in depth. We've done it a little bit before, but we're going to go a little bit more in depth now. So I think that you guys just copying notes is kind of like pointless. So instead, what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you practice underneath each of the slides, and I'll explain a little more as we get there. But before that, I need you to know what a context clue is first. A context clue is basically a hint that an author gives to you inside the text to help you define a word. That's all a context clue is. The clue can be before the word, after the word, in the same sentence, in the same paragraph. Basically, again, it's just some clues that surround a word that help you figure out what that word means. Yes? Take? No. Alright, so the first one, this is the first box that you have. Context clue type number 1, definition. So basically some context clues give you the definition of a word inside of the sentence. So for these, the word is defined directly and clearly within the sentence it is placed. So the word that I'm looking for you to define is the one that's in pink up here. Okay, it's probably a little bit bold or a different color on your sheets. The arbitrator, the person chosen to settle the dispute, arrived at her decision. So underneath this slide on your paper, I want you to define the word arbitrator. The arbitrator, the person chosen to settle the dispute, arrived at her decision. So what are you doing? Yeah, it's a definition. That's this type. Yes. I want you to define what this word is underneath the box on your paper. That's fine. So just define this word under here based on context clues. This type of context clue is definition. So the word, the definition is going to be inside of this. Just define it right here. This one's the most simple, that's why I put it first. And I had a lot of people last period say, well, they're never like that. Well, on the EOC and tests like that, they'll have stuff like this. And people just don't think to read the context. If you just read the context, you know what the word means. They just see arbitrator and they're like, I have no clue what that word means. But read the rest of the sentence and you'll figure it out. Alright, so what is the definition of arbitrator? Cherokee, what did you put?
The person choosing to settle the dispute.
Yes! Simple as that. It's the person chosen to settle a dispute. So who's a person that you could choose to settle some sort of dispute? A mediator, a judge. Yeah, these would all be sorts of these would be arbitrators. They're just people that settle a dispute, so a fight between two people. Awesome. Context clue number 1. Now, context clue number 2, this is the antonym. An antonym, that word basically means the opposite of, opposite meaning. So, an antonym context clue is where the sentence tells you what the opposite of the word is. This is often signaled by words like whereas, unlike, but, even though, as opposed to. So, again, under the box, I want you to define the word that's in pink, which is light. Whereas Melissa is quite light, her sister is clumsy and awkward. Whereas Melissa is quite light, her sister is clumsy and awkward. Go right here. So all you're going to do is define the word in pink underneath the box. Yeah. Okay, so this one isn't definition, so it doesn't give you the definition within. It tells you what the opposite of this word is. So clumsy and awkward is the opposite of the what? That's what your answer is going to be. This one is a little bit more tricky than the other one. So whereas Melissa is quite light, her sister is clumsy and awkward. You could substitute the word whereas for unlike. Unlike Melissa, who is light, her sister is clumsy and awkward.
You should do what?
So you are going to be defining the word in pink. Whereas Melissa is quite light, her sister is clumsy and awkward. Okay, who thinks they know what the answer is? Yes.
Like in control of herself.
In control of herself? That's a good way to put it. If you're light, you're in control of yourself.
What I said,
Calm, normal. That could work. I think normal maybe. Are you saying that is like the difference between awkward here? Mm-hmm. Yes. Put together. I think you guys are doing a lot with awkward, right? What's the opposite of clumsy? Graceful. Like you're graceful. So like you can move. So somebody who needs to be light would be like a football player because they have to like, juke people. Somebody who's like that, you would say is light. Okay? So that is what the antonym context clue is like. Next one, synonym. So other words are used in the sentence with similar meaning. The word is re-described by another word. So the slender woman was so thin, her clothes were too big on her. The slender woman was so thin, her clothes were too big on her. So again, write the definition for slender underneath the box. The slender woman was so thin, her clothes were too big on her. Good. Perfect. Yes. Did you get your makeup work? Okay.
Touchdown.
Who hasn't answered yet?
Me. Small.
Alright, what is it?
Thin.
Thin! Right? But that's right here. So small, thin, what else? Skinny, right? So the context clue is, the synonym is thin, right? And you can guess what she is based on that description. Alright, and the last one, inference. So inference is basically an educated guess. We've talked about this over and over again. But an inference context clue is basically when the word meanings are not directly described. They don't really tell you what it means. But based on everything, you can kind of tell what it is. Okay? So it needs to be inferred from the context. So here's an example. The man gigged the large fish, but he needed his friend to enlarge the hole to drag him out of the freezing water. What do you do? Not right now. The man gigged the large fish, but he needed his friend to enlarge the hole to drag him out of the freezing water.
Who is referring to when they say him? Are they talking about the fish or
Fish. The fish. Alright, Dan.
Either killed or like baited.
Baited? Yes. Killed? Yes. Pulled out. So, like, what do you do with fish? You catch them, you kill them, you eat them. So his friend needs the hole to be enlarged. Where are they? Where can you infer that they are?
in like freezing water?
By freezing water, right? So probably up in the Arctic. Have you all ever seen any of the shows where they have their fish inside of the frozen over lake bed or something. They have to cut a hole after they catch a fish so they can pull the fish out. So you knew that it had something to do with catching or killing or one of those things. You could just, the man caught the large fish, right? You can insert those words in for gig and see if it's right. All right, so moving on, we're going to do the more interesting part now. Everybody, I handed out a